Hello, guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message it comes from a translation of a WhatsApp voice note that I received. Indeed, strange things do happen in this world. The translation reads like this: Hello, my brother, how are you? Can you please post my story as hidden identity? I am a woman who is aged 42 years old. I have 3 kids with my husband, but in my marriage, I am experiencing a lot of problems, and these problems that I experiencing, sometimes I do blame my husband. But when I think of all the things that happened before me and my husband had gotten married to each other, I can clearly see and I can say that all of these problems that I am facing, it was because we tried to fight with God. We tried to fight against the will of the Lord, and in the process, there was even someone who ended up losing their lives because of jealousy. What happened, my brother, is that me and my husband, we all grew up in the same neighborhood, and in that same neighborhood in which we grew up in, there was this other woman who used to attend the same church that my mom used to attend, and they were like the best friends because my mom and that woman, they share the same totem. So she was like a big sister to my mom. Anything that my mom, like any challenge that she will be facing, that woman, she was the first one whom my mom would run to. There were many days whereby in the house we would be starving without having mealie meal or anything. My mom, she will say, go to my sister, for I know that she is the only one in this world who can assist me. My mom, she was an orphan. We just heard her saying that she never knew her father, and when her mother gave birth to her, she then passed away. So my mom, when she grew up, her mom's relatives were the ones that were taking care of her, and she then met with our father. And after they had met, that was when my father took my mother. It was almost like they ran away and they came to the city, because in the olden days back in our country, which is Zim, they used to have this other culture whereby if you come across any woman that you want, as long as she was not married, it is a culture that is called Musengabere. I don't know the pronunciation in English, but all that they do is, but what they used to do is that you would take that woman, then you would run away with her. That was a common culture back in those days. That is what my father did to my mother, even though they had fallen in love with each other. But my father could not afford to pay for her bride price. That was when they decided that they wanted to do that thing that was being done by men back in those days. It was a common practice. When they came to the city, that was when my mom met up with this woman who ended up being more like her sister. And she was a woman who had a husband who had a lot of connections in town. And quickly, my father, he found a job, and he found a job in the retail industry. The first shop where he was working in this other shop that is called Bata. It used to sell shoes. From there on, he rose up until he was a manager, and he started working at this other supermarket. Whilst he was working at that supermarket, he also became a manager at that supermarket. Life was really good, but it was all because of that woman who had assisted my parents. So when I was now in secondary school, me and that woman's daughter, we used to attend the same school, so we were like best friends. She told me that she was dating this other guy. At that time, when we were in secondary school, that guy that she was dating was already doing his Form 6 and he was about to go to university. The first time when we went to that guy's place, they were staying in the suburbs, and I saw that his parents, they were really filthy rich, and I started to lust after him. Slowly but surely, I started to push myself into my friend's boyfriend's life. I tried by all means, and whenever I would have gone to see him, because he used to say, come and see me, because he had this other friend who was in love with me, but I didn't want that guy because it seemed to be very ugly. I wanted him because he was very handsome. So sometimes I would go there in secret, then we'll start talking. He would ask me questions like, is your friend not cheating on me? Then I would start to laugh and I would say, one day I am going to tell you. As time went on, we were all grown up now. That was when I decided that this was the time for me to strike, and I wanted this man for myself. That was when I went to that place, and as I was speaking with my friend's boyfriend, I started to lie, and I told him that for a very long time his girlfriend had been cheating on him, and she was a type of a girl who had been dating the blessers. So when he heard this story, he started crying, and I started to comfort him, and I told him that I had told him this secret not because I didn't want him to go and confront his girlfriend. Otherwise, the friendship that was there between me and her, it was going to get destroyed. So I begged him and I said, please do not reveal this secret to her. Just find a way so that you can dump her peacefully. And that was what happened. And after he had dumped her, he came back to me and he said, can you please try to find a girl at least that is faithful? And I said, I am the one. I am here. Why do you want me to go out there so that I can find another one for you? That is how we started dating. We dated for a very long time until he was out of university. And after university, he started to work in his father's company. So when the gossip reached my friends' ears, that was when they came to our place. It was her and her mother. They were really angry. So my mom, she then got involved into the issue because I had already told her that this man, since secondary school, me and him, we had been dating. It is only that for a brief period of time he had dated my friend, who was a daughter of my mom's friend. And my mom, she thought that maybe this was the truth. So she said that, please, can you go away? You are insulting my daughter. If you keep on insulting my daughter, I am going to report you to the police, because those two women, they kept on insulting me and saying that I was nothing but a prostitute. After they were gone, I can safely say that that was when their friendship ended and witchcraft started to be involved in the matter. The first person who did this, it was my mother, because one day when we were sitting outside, we didn't have electricity. We used to cook on the fire. When she had told me to go into the house so that I can fetch some millie meal, when I returned back outside at the place where we used to cook, my mother, she was not there. She was looking around. I asked him, what was she looking for? She told me, and she pointed at this other tree, and she said, can you see what I see? And I said, no, I don't see anything. When I kept on looking, I then saw that there was a very big baboon. It was really big as a man. Then that baboon, it just disappeared. My mother then said, you see, this is witchcraft. And she started accusing her friend. And the next morning, she told me that we had to go and visit this other traditional healer. And by us visiting that traditional healer, we just wanted assistance and guidance. When we got to that traditional healer's place, I found out that the traditional healer, he was using a mirror, and he showed us everything that my friend and her mom were planning with my I then saw what my friend and her mom were planning to do with my life, because they wanted to have me killed by that baboon that we had seen the previous night. So that traditional healer said that he was going to give me some charms, and I was supposed to use those charms. That traditional healer said that some of the charms I had to dry them, and I had to wait until the time when I'll be married. Then I'll start to cook. When I'll be cooking, I was supposed to mix some of the powdered charms with the food that I'll be cooking for my husband. This was like more like a love potion. So I went back home and I started bathing using those charms. And after I had started bathing using those charms, I then saw that my boyfriend, he was more in love with me. And that is how we ended up getting married to each other. After that man had married me, I kept on using those charms. So after I had started using those charms, unfortunately, that was when we had the news that the traditional healer, he had passed away. So when the charms finally ran out, I then saw that my husband, he started complaining as if he had woken up out of a bad dream, and he kept on asking me like how he had ended up marrying me instead of marrying my friend. And he used to complain like whenever me and him were having an argument, he will say that I regret so much, I was not supposed to get married to you. How did I ever get married to you? Because as far as I knew, I was in love with your friend. I am still in love with your friend. And at that time, when he told me that he was still in love with my friend, I was pregnant. When I was sitting down, I kept on asking myself, and I said, right now, I am carrying my second child. And if this man tells me that he does not love me anymore, what am I going to do? I returned back to my mom and I told her everything that her son in law had told me. My mom said that it is not easy, but we have to do this so that we can protect your marriage. My mother then said that she wanted to speak with someone whom she knew in the village where she grew up in. So she went alone in the first place. Then the second time she went with me. That was when we were given this other clay pot. After we had been given that clay pot, I was told that I had to find a spot where there was a small hill, and I had to stand on top of a rock, and I had to smash that clay pot. That is what I did, my brother. When you say that strange things do happen in this world, that is the truth. Because when I smashed that clay pot, you know what happened, Brother Nashi? I saw a spark, you know, that kind of a spark that happens when lightning strikes. That is the kind of a spark that I saw. Then the spark just died down. When we traveled back to the city, we heard the news that my friend, she had been hit by lightning whilst she was coming from the fields, because in our area where we were staying, there was this other place which we had been given by the city council, so that if you want to have a vegetable garden, you could have your small vegetable garden. So when she was walking from that place, that was when she was struck by lightning. When we heard this news, I was really terrified, but my mother, she was really excited about that news. We even went and we attended a funeral, but there was no body viewing because her face and her body, she had been burnt by that lightning when it struck her. So there was no body viewing. After the burial, I continued staying with my husband, and I am currently staying with my husband. But there are so many nights when I feel like my husband, he is possessed by the spirit of my dead friend. I have tried to pray about it, but there is no answer. I have tried to ask God for forgiveness, knowing that I am the one who caused the death of my friend, but there is no answer. Now that all of those love potions have since expired, you know what my husband is doing right now? He is always chasing after young women. And when I try to stop him, he says that, why are you trying to stop me? Because I was not supposed to get married to you anyway. You are the one